Okay, guys, welcome back to another review. Yep, we're back. Now you may be asking yourselves, what could I be reviewing today? Well, I'm getting ready to talk about it. Now, this is a show that I wanted to talk about for a little while now. And that is the Star Wars The Clone Wars show. Yes, that's right. The Star Wars The Clone Wars show. I'm going to be talking about that show. But yep, this is the show I'm talking about. Now you may be thinking to yourself, wait, this show, what is this show? This is actually the original Clone Wars show, the original one. Yeah, that's right, there's actually two, different versions. And three, I guess, if you want to count Disney's as, canon too, which I hear people say Disney's is pretty good too, but I'll probably review that one separate, just to see if it holds up with the other seasons or not, of the CGI show. But I thought to myself, I'm like, maybe I should review this one first. Because I was thinking, because I wanted to review Star Wars Rebels and then see, how the characters played out in the Clone Wars show. But then I was like, you know what, maybe I should do Star Wars Rebels first, because there'll be more so cameos. And then kind of fill in, my thoughts on how they are portrayed, originally in the Clone Wars show down the road. And that's what I'm going to do there. This one, though, this is actually the original version, meaning the Clone Wars, 2008 show. It's a remake. So I think it's only fair that, unlike Rebels, I actually review this one first, and then do the Clone Wars show. So it's going to be a little bit before I actually review the, the 2008 one. Because I still gotta watch, several episodes. I'm literally, there's over 100 episodes of that show. There's over 100 of them. I mean, that's a freaking crap ton of episodes to get through. I've gotten through, the first season, but even if I take out season, 7 of the Clone Wars show, I'm still gonna review, 6 seasons. So it'll be a while before I actually, review it, but I'll try to review some other stuff. I mean, I still gotta finish DreamWorks up too, so I'll be reviewing some other stuff too, in these videos, but I want to get this review out of the way. I also, just want to clarify, I also am going to be having an appointment tomorrow, so I figured, get this video out today, instead of waiting till tomorrow to do so. And I'll try to do another video tonight, because this is what I've been trying to do for a while, but I don't know if I'll get it done or not, but I'll try to see if I can get it done or not, But, anywho, let's go ahead and actually get into this. Let's talk about the Star Wars, the Clone Wars, the 2003 version. So, this show, first off, from what I could hear, this show was actually, originally a bunch of shorts, and then they turned it into a little series. So, there's actually a Volume 1 and a Volume 2. Even if you go on Disney Plus, it says that. The reason why I say it like that is because I actually do have them on DVD. But I don't actually have the DVDs with me because of family, problems and, medical problems I've been having, and I've been kind of just feeling a bit happier being, with my mom, than my dad right now. I do plan on eventually getting my own place, but that's still going to be around the corner, that's not going to happen right now, but I do have them on DVD because I was planning on, eventually tackling the show anyway. I do not have the 2008 series yet. I do not have that. But what I can gather is you can even buy season 7 on there too. So Disney Plus was releasing the DVDs on there, which Which I'll tell you right now, it is confusing, what shows and what content is being released on DVD and what's not. Because if you guys, you guys can literally, I'm not kidding, you guys go online, you guys can literally find DVDs of the 2000, with the 2007 version. You can actually get, because they actually had the complete series, because back, when the show was getting, canceled, like the 2008 one, you could literally find it on DVD as well with, like this one. And this one I could not find as well. But you can actually find, but this show came out when I was younger too, so, I don't know. But I do know, they released that on DVD. But then, Family Guy and all that you can't get on DVD anymore, even though I guarantee most people don't watch that show anymore. Most people don't even talk about that show anymore. People are still talking about Star Wars and all. So you think they would keep that stuff more so on the platform. And you could say, well, maybe it was already being released before that. But then they've been releasing, they've released Avatar 2 and all that on DVD, so it's very weird on Disney Plus and all that, why they have it like that. And speaking of Disney Plus, I want to report this. This is very weird, but I was trying to scroll through. Well, I was trying to look for the show on there, and Google kept saying that the show was on there. I kept looking for it. I literally could not find it. So, because I had to watch volume, 2 on Disney Plus because only clips of it were available on YouTube. And normally I don't watch that kind of stuff, on, YouTube and all that if I don't have to, because, it's kind of, you're not really supposed to be doing that, but I couldn't find it anywhere, and, technically I have it on DVD, but still, I wouldn't want to be going to that route, but apparently, I guess I wasn't putting in the word, 2003, maybe? I don't know. It was kind of weird. It was weird the way it was pulling it up. It wasn't pulling it up and all that. But I'm pretty sure I put in 2003 before that, and it wasn't working. I don't know. There's been some weird stuff going on. I know for Hulu there has been, because, I told you guys I'm doing a top 10 down the road on Futurama, and, actually, I got finished with the episodes, but I gotta get that taken care of, and, I swear, I did not see, it's saying, it gives me a list of shows that to continue watching, but, I don't see Futurama anywhere. But I see, other shows like American Dad, and, especially, there's this one show called, I forgot what's this show called, Archer. But I've hardly seen any episodes of Archer, because I actually want to review that show in the future too, but I have hardly seen any episodes of that. But then somehow I see Futurama on, it's very weird. It was not on the, to continue watching. And technically I watched the last episode, but before that I was in the middle of the series. I was watching one of their movies, and it wasn't appearing, so I don't know what was going on. It was very weird. It was the last episode of the movie, but it wasn't the last episode of, the part of the movie. I was in the middle of watching it because we had some internet problems, and I don't know, it's very weird. It was the last episode of there, but still, it shouldn't be of season 6, but it shouldn't be doing that. It's very weird. I don't know, it's very weird how that's working out, but yes, technically, even Futurama, the movies are technically listed as part episodes, even though they should just be listed as movies, but I don't know. Like I said, it's very confusing how they have this stuff listed in on here. But anywho, back to this. I finally was able to watch this show again, and, I gotta say, I really, really like the animation in this show. This show has some god of tier animation. Oh my god, it's amazing. There's a few questionable animation stuff, for example, I don't really like, I think Lumineara, if you don't know who she is, she's the Jedi of, Barriss, the master of Barriss, Offee, or Offee, or Offee. I don't know, her name's Offee. You can actually see them in the background in the second, movie. I know people don't really like Attack of the Clones. I told you guys I thought it wasn't bad, but again, that shows you though how well the characters were. Played a role in the movies. I will agree with people on that. And I think they didn't get a lot of screen time, but it was kind of hard to have all these characters have screen time. That's why it's nice to have these series, But yeah, her design kind of looks a little bit weird, and all that. And then also Palpatine's design looks weird too. Like he looks older than he should be. Like he looks freaking like he just looks so weird. Like I don't know. Yeah, he wasn't necessarily young in the in the actual show or in the movies. But actually the person playing him was actually in his early 50s. Actually I think he was getting close to his 60s, but like he wasn't like super old, but he wasn't like old either. They make him look a lot older in here. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. Also, I think speaking of him, I think he's actually voiced by what was the name of the actor? I can't remember. Jim Carrey, or no, Tim Carrey, sorry. Because there's Tim Curry. There's a couple there's Jim Carrey and then there's Tim Curry. They sound very similar. It's very interesting. Ironically, they both played a lot of roles. They did. They played a lot of roles. Now Tim Curry doesn't really do as much anymore because sadly, the poor guy had a stroke. He had a stroke. I think in 2012 or something like that. It's sad. He still does some stuff sometimes, but I love his work. Like I think he does a very good job with voicing. I'm hoping he's not like. I hope he's not like some of these other actors, like voice actors like Mark Hamill and all that. Where like I don't really like what Mark Hamill's become. He's kind of become an old grouch and all that. And kind of very political. I mean, I don't mind people having politics, but I'm like, I kind of want to just watch you have fun, not griping at people and all that, the staying off your yard, kind of people, just like, it's, I don't really like that too much, but I don't know, from what I could hear, there wasn't too many problems with him, but yeah, he is known to play a lot of villain roles, and Palpatine is technically evil. He is an evil, guy. He plays both sides, to end the Clone Wars and all that, and does a lot of evil stuff, but he does a pretty good job, and they do a pretty good job building him up, They kind of show him having a darker side and all that, later in the, towards the end of the series, but yeah, I do kind of like him, but yeah, his design looks a little bit weird, but the rest of the characters look not bad, and even Ventress, like, I know she has no pupils, but I don't know, I don't think she needs pupils. I kind of wish they kind of kept this out of the Clone Wars. I wonder why they gave her pupils, because I think it makes her look more, different than the other characters by giving her no pupils. I don't know why they decided to give her pupils. I think it's kind of weird, but yeah, she's in the show too. Now, ironically, Ahsoka is not in this show. Ahsoka was actually not invented yet. Yep, she was not invented yet. I say it like she was put in like a factory, like George Lucas had her in a factory and she was made there. Sorry, I'm sorry. I know that was a bad joke. But I'm serious. She's not in this show, so you can't see an animation of her in this show. That's probably because this is before all that. Because Revenge of the Sith actually is about Anakin not being happy because he's not being ranked master. He feels like he's being down, which I'll probably get into more of that when I do the Clone Wars, the other show. But, yeah, she's not in here and all that, yeah, Anakin's pretty nice. Like, I like Anakin in this show. He's definitely a beast, he's a big beast and all. And I like his battle between him and Ventress. It's really nice, and you can see some flashing, and all that, and you could see the fear on her eyes too, like you can tell she's very scared of him. Her voice sounds familiar too. Like I think she's voiced by the voice actor who voices Daphne in the 2002 Scooby-Doo show. Actually, she voices Daphne. I don't remember when she started, because I don't know if there was any Scooby-Doo projects she was in before Cyber Chase, but Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, she started voicing Daphne there, and then she voiced Daphne even down the road. She also voices Wubsy and many other characters, so she's like everywhere. She is, I think she does voice, because I think it sounds like her. Now her voice sounds different in the 2008 version, so I don't know if her voice actor was changed or not. I think most of them actually were, because a lot of the voice actors, the only one that stayed was the voice actor of Kenobi. I'm not really sure why that was the case. Maybe the others were too busy, but there was a lot of characters, and the fact that Obi-Wan's voice actor, he was in the show, and in 2008 when he was, but the rest of them got replaced. I think there was one other actor. I don't know if it was Count Dooku, because Count Dooku sounds similar. But so does Palpatine. But Palpatine, I think, was voiced by somebody else at the start of this too. But in the second half, I think he actually sounds like Palpatine. So I don't know. Maybe there was more voice actors. I don't know. But I feel like a lot of them do sound different. I know Anakin definitely is. Anakin Skywalker, his voice was, they changed his voice actor and all that. I actually kind of like this Anakin more. I think he sounds more like his actual movie, because for a little bit there you can kind of think it's his movie voice, but no, it's actually it's a sound alike. But I really do like his voice. I kind of wish they kind of they could have found somebody that sounded like him. I guess to be fair, the 2008 one doesn't sound too off either, but he does sound a bit more off. Like, he doesn't have that accent, that Christopher, or not Christopher, what was his name? I don't remember, Christensen, or, something Christensen, Hayden Christensen had, but, he still sounds, like that, but this version sounds a lot, more like him, and I really do like that. I like that a lot, and, I'm trying to think what else I kind of want to talk about, before I get into, the big stuff here, I don't know, there's not really, it's pretty much just constant battles, it's literally, for the most part, it is, battles, and, it's just battling, the characters are just battling, because I think they were, listening to the fans, and they were listening to, the fans of, because that's how Revenge of the Sith was, too, it was more, action and less talking. I think that's what George Lucas was trying to give fans more of, he was trying to, aim the franchise more for younger audiences, but he was trying to, correct some of his mistakes he made, and, I think he was trying to make this more, for adults. I don't know. But that's the thing, too, though. I don't know. It's kind of, aiming it for adults, but, for the kids. But the thing is, I heard he wasn't, involved with the show a ton, that was more part of Cartoon Network. So, I don't know. As you guys see down there, the bottom left corner, you guys can see, that it says Lucasfilm, too. I decided I thought about putting, Cartoon Network down in there, but I'm like, you know what, I think it's gonna be easier just to have the logo at the top. I think it'll be better to, have that logo instead of giving it, the Cartoon Network logo, because some of these, shows and movies, are usually, most of them are usually only a few, but a lot of them can be partnered up with a bunch of different, studios and all that, so I think just having one or so is better. Sometimes I'll do, like, if I'm reviewing a Disney Channel show or something, or maybe even a Nick Jr. show, I'll probably, add more, because, because they changed their fonts and logos throughout history, but Lucasfilm, I'm gonna keep it like that. Now I was had a really hard time picking what logo I wanted to use for Lucasfilm, because there's like so many of them. But I was like, I want to just do the Clone Wars. I want to do the Clone Wars one, but I couldn't find it as easily. So I was like, and I was having problems with the internet, and I wanted to get this review done. So I was like, I'll just go with the 2000, 2005 one for Revenge of the Sith. I think that makes more sense. But it doesn't look as cartoony. Like, it doesn't fit the vibe as much. But unfortunately, it's kind of what I have, though. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's why I have that down there. But I was gonna say, I don't know if George Lucas, how much involvement he had in this show, like what to say and all that. But I don't know, the fact that a lot of these elements did kind of carry on, to the Clone Wars, the new Clone Wars show, and then Revenge of the Sith, I can kind of say, yeah, I don't know, I think, a lot of it, he probably was involved with a lot of it. However, there is one thing he was not involved with, and this is actually where I kind of want to get into this, because this part of the movie, this is probably one of the highlights of this show, and people are digging it out, and that is General Grievous. My God, he is a freaking menace. He is a freaking menace in this show. Like, he doesn't get like a ton of screen time until like towards the climax of the show, but he gets like some at the beginning and all. He takes out like freaking a shit ton of like Jedi and all that. Like, and he's just fast moving and all that, and with the lightsabers and all that, and it's just really crazy. Like, it's really crazy to like see that. It's really crazy to see him just take out all these damn Jedi, and all that, and then just like, and the only reason why he steps down is because the clones come up with an idea to, like, try to shoot him with a gun, and he's, like, staring at it, and he tries to run away. But he would have killed pretty much all the Jedi, maybe some could have survived, but he would have killed pretty much all of them if it weren't for the fact that, the clones were there to save the day. So, good job, clones, good job. You guys have done a very good job there. But then you got the climax where he actually uses the 4 lightsabers and literally kills, uses them to kill, sneak attack and kill some more Jedi and kills a bunch of clones, and it's freaking insane. Like, it is insane. And not to mention his voice. His voice is so much different, like it's so much different. Like, it sounds more robotic, but also, human, like, 'cause he's a cyborg, so, it makes kind of sense. Now, of course they, they do their thing, and actually, they showcase him getting his lungs crushed by Mace Windu and all that, and that's how he coughs, which I like that a lot, which is why in Revenge of the Sith he kind of coughs. But I kind of wish in Revenge of the Sith we could have seen him with his, his lungs and all that, or his chest, still broken up, or, I mean, they could have maybe repaired him, because, it took him a long time to actually get to the ship. So, maybe he probably had himself repaired, I don't know. But I do like they kind of give him, a reason to why, he's coughing and all that. Now, I will say, yeah, I really do like General Grievous here, but I'll tell you guys, in the movies, I will say, yeah, his lightsaber battles really sucked in the movies. Like, he barely did anything with his lightsabers. I mean, to be fair, though, I mean, I'm sure it was probably very hard to animate him in that, with that in the movies. Like, I think I've talked about that when I was reviewing Revenge of the Sith. that I think it's kind of hard to kind of, do all that, I mean, you guys can check out, Revenge, Revenge of the Sith, my Lucasfilm review playlist. That's where I review the stuff. I have it there. But yeah, I talked about, I've reviewed all those movies and all that, but yeah, I think I brought that up, that it was probably hard to, at the time to, like, animate, I mean, yeah, a lot of, like, CGI was becoming more and more of a thing, but, like, it was probably still hard to animate, somebody with 4, arms and all that, using lightsabers like that in the cartoons, so, but yeah, but he's, like, so much better here, and I like his voice a bit more, but, I mean, I don't mind him, being injured and coughing, too. But it makes you kind of questions, like, why is he so obsessed with Obi-Wan and not Mace Windu? Like, you think he'd want to freaking kill Mace Windu, I guess to be fair with the Obi-Wan and, Anakin being the main characters of the prequel trilogy, that's probably why they did that. But to me, I'm just like, I don't know, I just think it would make more sense to have, maybe, Obi-Wan crush his lungs instead, but I guess to be fair, though, they kind of, they do their introduction thing in the movies, too, so, but I mean, if this took place before that, they could have, like, added this scene in there. I'm like, I guess say, good to see you again, General. Sorry, I cannot do his coughing voice, but, I mean, they could do stuff like that, but instead, no, they just, they make Mace Windu crush his lungs and all that, and then they fly off with Palpatine. But I do really like we get to see how he gets captured and all that, because, I mean, watching Revenge of the Sith, they kind of don't really give you an introduction, they kind of just throw you in there, so it's kind of confusing, but yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know, I do kind of do like, some of that, though, but yeah, that's the thing, though, too, that's the thing, I mean, I really do like General Grievous in this show and all that, and, there's just a lot of things I like about this show, there are some things, though, I will say I don't, like, I do kind of don't like as much, though. Speaking of Grievous, I don't really like that he just suddenly is in a cyborg form. I kind of wish we could kind of see, I kind of wish we could see what he, see his original form, before he became a cyborg. I mean, there is this, like, mask figure, which you guys can see under, like, over by Vi Ventress and behind Dooku. You can see him. He kind of resembles General Grievous a little bit, but he doesn't really talk or anything. He looks more tentacle-like, and not really like, General Grievous in a way. So, I don't know, like, but we do see his, like, flesh kind of goes away, so I don't know, but it's just kind of, but I don't know, it's just kind of, like, it's kind of weird, just seeing all that, but we don't really get to see, we don't really see him, get transitioned into his cyborg form, and I kind of wish we could see that, because we see other details, like, we get to see C-3PO actually get his gold form. I like, they actually bring it up. Then we see, Anakin, his hair get, shortened out, or, like, longer, and Obi-Wan to go shorter. We kind of see that throughout the show a little bit, too, and just details like that is kind of nice, but we don't really see a lot of that other stuff, and I kind of wish we could see more of that, but I will say, it's still not too bad with that, now I will say, I will say this, though, about, like, the battle droids and clones and all that, they really don't do a whole lot in this show, they kind of suffer the problem, I feel like, the prequel trilogy problems. They don't really give them, like, personalities and all that, and I mean, they probably don't need a ton, but I'm like, that's kind of the problem I have with, like, the stormtroopers, from, the stormtroopers and all that, I kind of had a problem where they don't have a lot of personality and all that. I kind of like seeing like them, like the droids being more goofy and idiotic, and all that. But I guess to be fair, it could take away from, the stuff a little bit. But I'm like, I feel like it can, kind of show why, maybe the battle droids kind of failed and the clones kind of did it, because the clones were more smarter and all that. And, seeing them kind of just have more of their backs and all that, and to be fair, I mean, they do help out, like I said, they helped out, take down General Grievous and all that, or try to, and fail, but, they did try, and they saved the Jedi, but they don't really, they're just there to agree, like, they say, yes, General, yes, sir, or this or that, and all that. And I will say this too, I do want to make a video in the future kind of talking about retcons and possibly the retcons. I'm trying to figure out if I want to make this an entire video, just maybe in the future do a thing where I talk about retcons of, stuff in general. Because Disney and George Lucas have done retcons, of character arcs and all that, and I thought to myself, I'm like, maybe I should do a video talking about, like, which ones I like more, which ones I don't. But I feel like it'd be kind of a long video, especially, I want to kind of talk about the clone stuff, too, because there's people saying that they never had chips in their heads, they were actually always meant to turn on the Jedi, and I don't know, I mean, I'm kind of, like, thinking to myself, I'm like, maybe that could be true, but also, I'm like, it seems kind of weird to have, like, like thousands, maybe millions of, clones to all agree on the same thing. You would think some of them would question what they're doing, and they kind of in the movies kind of just go straight to like, yes sir. So it's like their just existence is to just follow orders, like they don't have actual control, like 100% control over their minds, but. I guess that's probably where the whole giving them more personality would come in handy, like, they don't really see the point of having that, but again, I'm like, like I said, I don't know, that's where the whole brain chips could come into, but like I said, I'll talk more about this stuff when I do the, reviews of, the next show down the road, which is the Clone Wars show. I don't know if it'll be the next one I'll review, but the next, like, Star Wars one at least I'll be reviewing, But yeah, I will say, yeah, I kind of don't really like that they just exist just to agree with stuff. And then, also, I will say this too, this is another problem, I will say, I think the Jedi sometimes can be a little bit broken, like, now, I don't remember, like, it's been a minute since I watched the show, I kind of already forgot, because like I said, there's a bunch of stuff going on in the show, because it is very short, so sometimes it can be a little bit hard to kind of follow. That's kind of why I like having the slower stuff. That may be why a lot of people don't like the prequels. I say I don't mind them, because I like to have a little bit of slow stuff to kind of fill the story in a little bit. But I don't mind having some action in the show too. That's kind of why why not Revenge of the Sith, and why Attack of the Clones is probably my least favorite of the George Lucas run of Star Wars movies. And that's well, unless you account the holiday special, which I have been seeing, but there could be more, but even after the holiday special, but that's one I have not seen, but I hear it's pretty boring. But I will say the whole thing with Revenge, or not, like Attack of the Clones. Yeah, I felt like most of it was just them just talking and not really doing a lot of anything else. But they were filling in some interesting details, like talking about Count Dooku. Like, we were learning more about Count Dooku's backstory and all that. So it was kind of nice to have a little bit of a break. But yeah, I do think it kind of dragged a little bit at times too. But that's the thing too. That's the thing. I feel like with this show being kind of fast paced, it can be a little harder to follow at times too. But it is really fun to watch. But I will say, yeah, I think at some point in time, I was gonna say I think I've seen like Mace Windu. Was it Mace Windu or Yoda? Like use the Force to like pull down a freaking ship and all that. That's some sequel trilogy stuff right there, and I've had problems with that in the sequel trilogy, and I'm gonna say it right here. Like I think that makes them a little too broken, like that's kind of the problem there. I mean, yeah, I get that Mace, technically, unlike Rey Skywalker or Rey Palpatine, however you want to pronounce her, technically Mace and Yoda are more trained, Jedi, and we actually see them, train, while we don't really see Rey get trained much in the sequel trilogy. But I still think having them be able to do that, pull stuff out in the, out of the air like that, and just knock a bunch of, I get the Force can be very powerful in some Jedi, but, being able to knock down, thousands and thousands of, droids, I think it can be a little too broken, a little too broken, especially the ship part, but, I think even Mace Windu, while General Grievous was kind of, flying off, it looked like he was going to try to pull the ship down, too, and again, if they can just do that, like I said, that's a little too broken, Even, Force healing, I think I've heard about, that there are some, that can do that in Star Wars even before Disney, but I still don't think I think Force healing can, be too powerful and not as interesting on screen and all, but I guess maybe they can make it work at times too, if they did it well, But yeah, I don't know. But that's kind of my little complaint there. I kind of don't really like that too much, but those are just minor complaints about this show. This show is still really good. I'm definitely gonna give it a good. I'm gonna be giving it a good for sure. I think it definitely deserves a good. And then I'm also gonna be giving it. We're gonna be giving it 100 points. We have 100 points. Not 120. I thought about giving it 120. I really did. But like I said, I do have a little bit of problems with this show. I do think it can be a little... I think at times, I feel like I kind of wish we could have seen more... I mean, we see a lot of characters, and a lot of action, and a really good animation for the most part, besides, again, Palpatine and all that, but, and, Lumiara, but for the most part, the action's really good. I really like what they did with Grievous, but I don't like I said, I don't feel like we get a lot of story, to the characters as much. We get some, but not really a lot, because it's so short, so everything's kind of scrammed together. But we do get a lot of good action sequences, and I really like that. But also, I feel like, being able to see Grievous actually, Grievous actually, get, turn into his cyborg form, that would have been nice. We could see that and all that. But I really do like it. I really do like, this show a lot. I really do. There's probably stuff that I missed because there's so much of it, but I don't know if I could really review it separately. It's just kind of hard. There is something I do want to talk about, though. Speaking of this show, I think this show actually did this first. Yeah, it definitely did this first. I was talking about, Avatar. I forgot about that on the Wave of Water. So there is these Avatar-looking creatures that look awfully a lot like avatars. They're little cat people. Only, these are actual mutants. They get mutated and all, which is very crazy. But the fact that we actually see that, it's very, very crazy. That is very crazy, the fact that we actually see all that. But yeah, I did not think we were going to see all that, but the fact that we are, that we did, is very crazy. Just seeing these creatures get mutated into these monsters and all that, and then it's very crazy, But yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's the thing, there's just so much going on, it's very, I think maybe if it were into shorts, maybe it'd be a little easier to review, but it's still not bad, I still think it's really good. Like I said, I gave it 100 points, but That doesn't mean it's bad, because it's far from bad. I just wish there was more time, to the characters, because we get introduced to some of these characters. I don't really know a lot about these characters. But like I said, the animation's really good. The action sequences are really good. It does a very good job filling in details, people are asking about. So it's pretty good. Like, it's a pretty good show, and I definitely would recommend it. I really, really, really would. I can't wait to review Revenge or the Clone Wars 2008 series, because that'll be fun. But for right now, though, I'm gonna probably go ahead and let things go from here. And I think I'm just gonna do my other video tomorrow. I need to remember to kind of do it. Because this is a video I've been kind of meaning to talk about for a while. I wanted to kind of discuss like, speaking of cartoons and all, I wanted to discuss the voice actors and all that, because like, and passing away and all that, and kind of talk about my thoughts on the future and stuff of this stuff. But I won't talk about it here. But yeah, I'm gonna make a video about that. If I just want to bring it up here in case I forget, because I might forget, because I've been forgetting to do it for a while now. But yeah, that'll be more probably a thoughts and thoughts video, thoughts and theory video. It won't be really much of a theory, but more some of my thoughts on the stuff. But anywho, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.